and welcome to another episode of Cinnamon Stitches. I am your yarn host Jennifer, and I am going to do a tutorial for this beautiful cardigan so you can make one for yourselves. I am kind of in love with the cardigan. I hope that you make one. I really debated on the best way to make this so that it could fit everyone, and I think I did a pretty good job. We have a little bit of banding on the bottom. The yarn that I used is Premier Puzzle Shimmer. In total, for a size 4X, I used, I'm going to say 2.5 of the silvery white color, which is called Jack's Shimmer, 2.5 of the red, which is called Checkers Shimmer, which I just pulled the ball band off, and then 2.5 balls of the green, which is Maze, M-A-Z-E Shimmer. Not two, did I say 2.5? Yeah, 2.5. 2.5 white, 2.5 red, 2.5 green, which means I had to buy 9 balls of yarn for this beautiful cardigan, which, look how pretty it is. I feel pretty. Alright, let's get down to it. This crochet cardigan is called Sandy's Christmas Cardigan because Sandy from Crochet A Canada, Crochet A, E-H, not the letter A. I've had a lot of people say they couldn't find her. It's E-H. Like Canada, that Crochet A. Crochet A. How's my Canadian accent? So, I used Sandy as an inspiration. We are also doing a collaboration together. She is making her own tutorial for her own cardigan, which I'm sure will be fabulous, but I haven't seen it yet. I already sent her a picture of this when it was almost done. I am so stinking proud of this. If you made it this far in the video and you plan on making this cardigan, please, I want to see it. I want to see the variations. I want to see how you change it up to fit your body. I want to see it in all sizes for all bodies. And with that, oh, I forgot to tell you, for this tutorial, with the Puzzle Shimmer yarn, I used a 7mm hook. You can use 6.5 or 8 if that's what you have. Your stitch will be a little bit bigger or looser or tighter and smaller, and it doesn't matter because we're measuring this entirely on our body. We're measuring on our body and we're going from there. Oh my god, I feel pretty. Alright, let's go down to the table. Alright, so to get started, you're going to need to measure your body. I have, Winifred? I don't remember her name. I think it's Winifred. I have her here to demonstrate so that you can see on camera what I'm doing. So that I'm not standing up. Now, we're going to measure, the way this cardigan is going to be worked is it's going to be 2 panels. And I already have one of the panels complete because I wanted to test and make sure that this was going to be, that I liked the way it looked. So what we're doing is we're doing 2 panels, and it's going to be on either side of your body. So the first measurement you need to make is from the top of your shoulder down to about how far you want your cardigan to lay on you. Now I'm a little bit bigger than Winifred here, but you want it to measure how far you want it to go on your body, how long you generally like your cardigans. Me, I like mine to hit right about the hips. I want it long enough that it's at my hips, but not so long that I'm sitting on it. So, I already measured on my body. This is panel A. We're going to make 2 panels that look like this. And in the tutorial, I'll give you other options if you don't like the way this color looks, because I want you to be happy with your cardigan. So you're going to measure from the top of your shoulder down to about where your hips are, where you want the cardigan to lay. Keep in mind, I'm also going to put a bottom on it. So it's not going to be ribbing. We're just going to put a solid bottom on it in a solid color. And that's going to add an inch or 2 depending on how many rows you do of that. So keep that in mind. So wherever you want your cardigan to lay. So on her, it's about 29 inches. Alright. For me, same thing. I wanted it to be about 30 inches on my body. So I crocheted it, I chained until it was the length that I needed. Okay, and then the second measurement you're going to need is from the center of your chest to the center of your armpit, and go around the fattest part of your body. Okay, so if your boobs are bigger than your stomach, measure across the boob like this. If your stomach is bigger, like if you have a big stomach like I do, measure from your stomach, like the center of your stomach to around the middle of where your seam is on your clothes. Like straight, there's a seam right there. Measure from there to there. That's how wide your panel will be. Okay? Those are two of the main measurements we need for right now. And write those down. Write those down. Now, for me, I started with the stitch is a multiple of 6 plus 2. So I had to chain a multiple of 6 and then add 2 stitches onto the end. Those are turning chains. So I think that's all you need to know for right now. I am working this in 3 colors. So I am switching every single row. If you want to do this in just 2 colors, switch colors every 2 rows. If you're working 3 colors, switch every row. And I explained that when I showed you guys the peppermint tutorial. The reason we switch every row with the 3 is so that when we get to the end of the row, the color that we need next will be on the end of the row for us to pick up and go back, and it will alternate. But if you have only 2 colors, your colors are always going to end up on the same side. So you're going to have to take a line, do a line back, and then pick up the second color, do a line, come back, pick up the first color. So 2 rows, then change color if you're doing 2 colors. You can do this all in 1 color. It will be absolutely beautiful, but I'm going for this beautiful look. I think this is going to be a gorgeous sweater cardigan. It's going to be open in the front, but you can also seam it up the front too if you want it closed in the front and just have a regular old sweater. You need to make 2 panels. So whatever you do for your first panel, write it down. Don't lose it. Write it down a couple places. Write it on paper, put it in your project bag. Because you need to make a second panel that's exactly the same size. Now I am using the Premier Puzzle Shimmer. I have had a few people ask me, can I use a thinner yarn if I don't want to use a bulky weight? You absolutely can. You're just going to have to take into consideration that you're going to have to change your hook size to match up with the 4 weight or whatever weight of yarn you use. You can use any weight of yarn. Because we're crocheting it off of our own measurements, you can use whatever yarn you want. If you want to use the new Joann's yarn, you use the new Joann's yarn. If you want to use the Basics shimmer instead of the Puzzle shimmer from Premier, you can do that. This one panel almost took up all 3 balls. This is what I have left from the just 3 skeins of the Puzzle shimmer. So it is going to take at least 6 skeins of yarn for, I'm making a 4X because I want it to be big on me. So I'm making it bigger than my body. I want to swim in it. Anything smaller than that, I would still stick with 6 balls minimum, but I think this is probably going to take about 8 balls to finish for a 4X. So, but I don't know that yet because I haven't finished the second panel. Alright, so I think that's everything you need to know to get prepared. For the Puzzle shimmer, I am using a 7mm crochet hook. 6.5mm would work. An 8mm would work if that's all you have, but I'm using a 7. And because you're doing it off your own measurements, the hook size is not an exact science either because we're measuring it to our bodies. Alright, now for my measurements, 30 inches, I started, let's see if I don't know if I wrote it down. I think I did a chain of 1. Let me go get my paper. Alright, I started with a chain of 152. So 150 is the multiple of 6, and then the plus 2 is the turning chain. Let's go down the table. I'll show you how to work up this beautiful easy stitch. Alright, so I started and ended. I started with the red, ended with the white. You want to repeat whatever you do on your first panel for your second panel. But let's get started on our first panel. Alright, so like I said, you need a multiple of 6. So we know if I'm using a 7mm hook and I have a 30 inch from the top of my shoulder to the bottom of my waist, I need to start with, I need to stitch 60 inches because we need to go over the back too. So the measurement from the top of your shoulder to your waist for me was 30. So I crocheted a measurement of 60, and for 60 inches I did 150. So you can start with that. If you want it longer or shorter, you can just add 12 inches or subtract 6 or 12 inches. And all you're doing is you're doing a slip knot and you're starting with chaining, okay? Pick your first color. And I started with red on the other one, so I'm going to do red on this one. And whatever you do on the first panel, remember you got to do on the second panel, so write it down or you will forget. I forgot myself. I had to go find my book, all right? I even wrote, I need the panel to be 60 inches because this is halfway point is from my shoulder to my waist, and this is going to be the back to the waist. Okay, so that's what it's going to look like. And yeah, I'm going to chain for 30 inches, 150 stitches. If you're shorter, obviously less than that. If you're taller, you want it longer, increase that. So 150. $46, $47, $48, $49, and 150, and then add 2 more, 1, 2, okay, and then, all right, so where the 151 was, right before we added 2 extra, we are going to put a double crochet. Oop. If I can get it in there. That is just to start off the row. Now we are going to skip the next 2, and I know it's hard to see with this yarn, but we're going to skip the next 2 stitches, and in the third we're going to put 5 double crochet. Okay, 5 double crochet in the same stitch. We're going to skip the next 2 stitches, and in the third we're going to put a single crochet, and that's the whole row repeat. We're going to skip 2, and in the third, 1, 2, 3, in the third put 5 double crochet, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Skip 2 and put a single crochet in the third. 1, 2, and if you can't see, just feel your way. You could feel where the bumps are. See, and it's gonna do this little cuppy thing for the first row, and it's fine. Don't worry about it. Skip 2, and in the third, 5 double crochet. And listen to Miss Ponyo whine. Skip 2, single crochet. Do this all the way across. 1, 2, and in the third, 5 double crochet. Skip 2, and in the third, single crochet. Now, if we use our calculator, whatever our starting number was, which was clear, 150, we added the 2, but that doesn't count. Divided by 6, we should have 25 shells across, if our math is correct. And we should end the row in a double crochet, whereas we started this row in a double crochet. End this row and only this row in a double crochet. Okay, that's just to start us off. And if your numbers are slightly off, it is okay. I promise you. Five double crochet, skip 2, single crochet, skip 2, 5 double crochet, Tanya was mad because her mommy is at a concert tonight, and it's just me and her and Lucas. And she is currently in timeout for her own safety because she keeps eating stuff she's not supposed to. Skip 2, 5 double crochet, skip 2 single crochet. Skip 2 single crochet. Alright, we are towards the end of the row, so we should have 6 stitches left. Well, at least I do. I'm going to put our last 5 double crochet shell. I'm going to end the row in a double crochet. Alright, now this is where it's going to change because there's not going to be any more of the double crochets on the end for the rest of the sweater. That's just to start our first row. Alright, now we're going to join our next color, which for me is white, the silvery white, the grayish white, the Gandalf the white. Let me pull out my center, see if I can. You know, I don't know why I'm not using my spindle thing. Alright, now I'm going to join this. I chained one, and I don't know why I did that. Alright, got our double crochet. I am going to join the white. Just going to pull it through. Pull the red taut, turn it. Alright, now, in this very first stitch, we're going to put 3 double crochets. This is going to be our repeat. Okay, so we're going to repeat this row and the next row. So put 3 double crochets in the first stitch where that double crochet is. Oops. Don't worry, this will not come loose while you're crocheting unless you crochet really, really loose. But you can connect your yarn any way that you want to. I just will come back in later and I will weave that in and it stays. Alright, then we're going to go to the center. So the 1, 2, the third double crochet of the center of the shell and put a single crochet. Move my light a little bit. Hopefully we can see. This yarn is looking so dark on camera. Alright, and then we're going to go to where the single crochet is and we're going to put, so if I lay it flat, we have a shell and there's a single crochet here in the middle and then a shell. We're going to be working in the single, see if you pull it, you can see right there, that hole. That's the single crochet. We're going to work 5 double crochets in there, and in the center of the shell up here, we're going to put a single crochet. 5 double, single, 5 double, single. That is this row's repeat. The only thing difference between this row and the next row is we're starting this row with 3 double crochet. The next row up will start with a single crochet. But we'll get to that when we get to it. So 5 double crochet in the single crochets in between the previous shells. See, that's what it looks like. 3 double crochet, single crochet at the top of the previous row shell, 5 double crochet, and in the center of the shell here, so you should skip 2 double crochet in the shell, and in the third one in the top in the center, put a single crochet. Find that single crochet and put 5 double crochets in there, which is our shell. Find the top of the shell, put a single crochet in there. Find the single crochet, put 5 double crochets in there. What you're going to see happen with this yarn, because the nature of the puzzle yarn, it will shift colors on you. So if you look at the other row, you will see that the shades of red change from row to row. And in some rows it looks almost gray red. And the same thing with the white. The white goes from more gray to more white here. And then the green also is darker here. A little more gray mixed in there. A lot more gray mixed in there. So you're going to see a lot of that. And it will also change as you're going down the row, which I think is a lot of fun. I am covered in yarn. I had a giant yarn barf when I pulled the center of that ball out. And it is all over my desk. So this entire row, you're just putting 5 double crochet shell in the single crochets between the shells of the previous row, and put a single crochet in the center of the shells of the previous row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way across. And when you get to that last stitch at the end of the row, you're gonna do exactly what you did here. You're gonna put 3 double crochets in that last stitch. This stitch looks complicated if you're a beginner, but it's honestly, I find shells to be the easiest stitch to do because you don't have to count stitches so much. You don't have to make sure. Like, it's easier to fudge it if you make a mistake somewhere, which I did in the other panel. There was a couple of shells where I only put 4 double crochet, and so I would just find a spot in between the 4 double crochet to put the single crochet and pretend I didn't do that. Because that's how we roll in Cinnamon Stitches land. We fudge it as we go along. 4, 5, single crochet at the top of the shell. This is what it should look like. And that bottom row still wants to pucker a little bit, but it's fine. It's going to be fine. That's going to be the part that's under our arms anyway. You see the sparkle, man? I really like the Premier Puzzle Shimmer. I was so excited when they released it last year. Alright, continue on. 5 double crochet shell, single crochet, 5 double crochet shell, single crochet all the way across. I will meet you at the end of this row and we'll attach the 3rd color. Now, like I said at the beginning of this, if you're doing only 2 colors instead of 3, do 2 rows of the red, 2 rows of the white, 2 rows of the green. Or no, that's not correct at all. If you're only doing red and white, do 2 rows of red, 2 rows of white, 2 rows of red, 2 rows of white, or whatever colors you choose. And if you're doing this all in one color, like even if you did this all in one color with the puzzle, it would still work out and look, you would still be able to define the shells because of the way the color shifts. So from this red color to this red color, it does shift, and you will see, you will still get the diamond effect of the shells. So only if you're doing 3 colors do you change the color every row. If you're doing 2 colors, you change every 2 rows. I probably should have said at the beginning of the row, and if I messed you up, I'm sorry. Alright, we are getting to the end of the row. Our last big shell, which is 5 double crochet. Last shell gets a single crochet. Then we're going to go down to that very first stitch we made, and we're going to put 3 double crochet in that last stitch. And we're going to drop the white. Now, the hardest part of this is keeping all the yarn from tangling on itself. So that has been my biggest struggle. Every once in a while you got to untwist your balls and like move them around. Well, this one of course pulled with no problem center pull. Now we're going to attach the 3rd color, same way we attached the white or the gray. Just going to grab a tail, pull it through the stitch, pull the white tight. And we're going to put a single crochet in that very last stitch we created. Just 1 single crochet. Okay. Drop the white. Actually, I'm going to drop the white to the back so that it doesn't get in my way. There we go. I'm just redoing what I already did. I'm putting a single crochet there. If I drop the white to the back, it won't get tangled with the yarn I'm working with. Now, go over and find that very first single crochet and put 5 double crochets in that. It's the only difference between what we're calling row 1 and row 2 is row 1, well, actually it's row 2, but like the first, you know what I'm saying. There's going to be 3 double crochet, and then the next row is going to start and end with a single crochet. So it's going to alternate 3 double crochet, single crochet, 3 double crochet, single. That's the only difference between the 2 rows. So it's technically a 2-row repeat, but the only difference is those end stitches. And you continue across just like we did the last row, where we put 5 double crochet shell in the single crochet of the previous row, and then put a single crochet in the top of the shell of the previous row. You're just going to keep repeating those 2 rows until this measures the width that you need. And remember, whatever you did at the front of the row, you need to do at the end of the row. So if you started with a single crochet, you have to end the row with a single crochet. If you started the row with 3 double crochets, you need to end the row with 3 double crochets. And if you go back and count, row number 2 is going to have 3 double crochets. Row 3 will have single. Row 4 will have 3. Row 5 will have single, and on and on and on. So you can just count from here. It should go double, single, double, single, double, single, all the way up the side. And we're just going to carry our yarn all the way through, which I will show you when I get to the end of this row. And since I already showed you how to do this entire row of just 5 double crochet and a single crochet, I will meet you at the end of this row and show you how to grab the yarn for the next row. Alright, we're approaching the end of the row, and just like previously, we're going to put our 5 double crochets in that last single crochet of the row. We're going to go to that last stitch of the row, which is the double crochet, because there's 3 double crochets here. We're going to end the row in a single crochet, because we started the row in a single crochet. We're going to throw the green to the back. We're going to pull up the red. Okay, pull the green tight. Don't pull it so tight that this is being pulled together, but pull it tight. Alright, rotate our work. And I already got a little tangle there, so I may have to rotate my balls around. Now, the wonderful thing about when we're doing the 3 colors like this, when we get down to the end of the row with the green, the red is waiting there for us. The same thing, when we get back down to the end of this row, that white or the gray is just waiting for us to pick it up, because that will be the next color, because it will go red and we'll bring the white up. So you're just going to continue this, and because the last row was a single crochet, we're just going to put a double crochet in that end of the row and 2 more double crochets to join it. So we're starting the row with 3 double crochets. And you notice I'm not doing any chaining on the end. I just pull the color through and I make it a double crochet on that end. There's no chaining involved, because sometimes when you chain 3 or chain 2, that end stitch will kind of stick out and separate itself from the rest. So I just pull the red through. I don't chain anything because the red is technically a chain, and then I put 3 double crochets in that last stitch. And then we start back with the same sequence of single crochet on the top of the shell, 5 double crochets, and you're just going to continue this pattern back and forth, swapping your colors until your panel is the width like I showed you at the beginning of the video. So mine for a 4X on me. So we're doing the rows this way. This is going to be the bottom of the cardigan. This is going across from the center of under your arms to the center of your chest. And for me, for a 4X, no, it's right here on the desk. That measurement is about 15 inches across, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26 rows for a 4X. To give you an idea of how many rows you might need for this. Make 2 panels exactly like this. Whatever color you start with, start the other row or the other cardigan with that color. Whatever you end with, end in the same color. So because I started with red, I ended with the white. I'm going to do the same thing with that panel, and I'm going to go until they are the same size and they are the same shape. And I will meet you back here with the next step on what to do, on how to seam this up and start sleeves and all that good stuff. Alright, I got both my panels done. And I don't remember if I said yesterday that I did 26 rows per panel for a size 4X. And the way this is going to look is like this. Now, I'm still figuring out the sleeve portion, but I'm thinking our starting row, the row we started on, is going to go towards the center of the chest, and the shells are going to face outward, because if we follow this stitch pattern along on the sleeves, which I'm thinking we're going to do, I want the shells to all face the same direction, so we would continue the shells going down, but we haven't got to that step yet. What we're doing right now is we are going to measure the fattest part of our arm, and for some of us we have series bat wings, for some of us we do not, but whatever it is, the fattest part of your arm, and you want to write that number down. So measure it 2 ways, okay, because fat is squishy and moves around. Your arm upright like this is 1 measurement, I write that down, but that same thickest part of your arm, measure it with your arm flat, because sometimes fat will spread and will get fatter, and just make sure that your number is the same, and it is. So that's the size hole we want at the top of our sleeve when we connect these. So what I'm gonna show this on her, because it's easier for me to show it on another body than it is for me to show it on myself. The way that we're gonna connect these is we are going to line it up so that it's straight and that our ends are equal on the front and the back, which this is not. Okay. Make sure this is equal. Pin the front, or put like a ribbon and knot it if you don't have good sturdy pins. Which I don't know that I have good sturdy pins, but we're going to try these little light bulb pins and see if they work. Because they are essentially safety pins. Just using these. Come on. I'm pinning the front to make sure that it stays even when we connect the back. Just find, make it level. Put a couple pins in there if you can. Make sure it's nice and tight and doesn't want to pull apart, okay? And then we'll turn, and I know not everybody has a mannequin, just measure it the best you can on your body, okay? Turn her around. Now, we got to do the same to the back. Make sure we pin so that it's flat on so it's even across here. And we are going to add a bottom to this, so if there's any unevenness, don't worry about it. Like we'll figure that out when we add the bottom. And then put pins every inch or so up the back, or in the bottom. Like for me, if I would do at the bottom of every shell, just pin it just to make sure that it is not going anywhere when we sew it closed. And I'm going to give you an option because I know some of you hate sewing. You can also single crochet this. But just keep in mind the single crochet is going to cause a seam, and you're going to want to make sure that when you connect it here, the single crochet is on the same side of the garment as it is on the underarms, so that it's like the seams are on the inside of the sweater. So I'm just pinning this all the way up to make sure that all of those shells are aligned. And when you go up to the top, you want to make it slightly below where your neck is. Okay, so you don't want to fold it in half. Now, if you measured it and you needed it 30 inches from shoulder to waist, so your garment is 60 inches, don't fold it in half and put the pins at the 30 mark, because you need a little bit of space here at the back of your neck, because otherwise the front will be shorter than the back of your garment. I'm just pinning this. And it's times like this when I'm grateful that I have one of these mannequins, but like I said, I know that not everybody does. You could lay this on your table and just go up to one shell below the halfway point. So if you fold it in half and you measure that exactly, just go one shell or maybe two shells down from where the halfway point is. Alright, so I stopped the pinning here because it's down from the neck a little bit. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 shells. And then how many shells? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So I have 14 shells on this side of the garment, down the front. And I pinned up 11, and actually I think I'm going to pin up a 12th shell, so it'll be 12 on the back pinned up, and then there will be 13 unpinned if you're making it the same length as mine. So there we have that. Alright, now make sure, try it on at this point and make sure like everything is feeling right and it's not too long in the front or too short in the front. But be careful you don't pop those pins out. That's why we put so many in. Now, we need to figure out the armhole situation. The biggest problem I always have is that the armholes end up way too big. And I always overestimate. So you're really going to want to take that measurement. For me, it's 18 inches. And then make sure you have this completely even. Pin this bottom too, so that your ends stay where they're supposed to stay. Okay. Make sure it's completely even. Fold it in half. This is where laying it on a table will do you better than what I'm doing right here. And because my armhole is 18 inches, I'm going to want to measure here, down the side, 9 inches, fold it in half. That's the centimeter side. So somewhere around right here. And before you sew this up, try it on and do this. And make sure you got room in your armhole so that it's not too tight. And make it a little bit bigger if you want to. Because there's nothing worse than being in a sweater and it's just tight across here. I hate that. So make sure you have plenty of room in there to move your arms around. And then you can pin this up the sides if you want. And because we have these waves, we're probably going to have to add a row to straighten that out. But I got to play with that. So right now we're just pinning and we're trying everything on. Make sure you have enough room in your armhole. Put a couple pins here when you try it on so that it stays closed, so that you're not poking yourself in the armpit or popping it or anything like that. Make sure you have plenty of room in there. And like I said, you can seam this up 2 different ways. You can seam it up single crocheting, or you can sew it together. I'm going to show you both options, okay? So let's go down to the table. All right, I'm going to try to get everything situated. I'm going to show you how to single crochet this closed first. This is going to absolutely give you a seam on the inside. And always, because we have red on both here, we're going to use red to seam it up. Okay, so I'm just going to make a slip knot. And this is if you're going to use single crochet to close this. So this is the back panel. We're starting at the bottom where our first stitch marker is, and I'm just going to fold it so that this is the right side, this is the wrong side, so that the right sides are facing in together. I'm going to remove that first stitch marker because it's going to get in my way. I'm going to zoom you guys in real good. Alright, now make sure you find the first stitch, stick your hook in there on the top and the bottom sections, and just pull up a loop and single crochet. Alright, now make sure you line this up the whole way along. That's why we put so many stitch markers. Okay, and then we're gonna find the center of the shell. Come on, focus. Find the center of the shell on both stitches, put a single crochet in there. Right, move along and in between where the shell, so that's the center of the shell, this is the space next to the shell. Find that space, single crochet. This is where the single crochet stitch is. Make sure you're lining up both single crochets and single crochet. Okay, go to the next section of the stitch. Whenever you feel a hole or a gap, put a single crochet in there. Line up the 2 centers. That's where my stitch marker is. Just working around it. Go to the next section over, put a stitch marker. And don't do these stitches real tight. Okay, just keep them kind of loose. You're gonna have a seam, but this can be the inside of your sweater. If it bothers you, I'm gonna show you another way to do this so that we're not, because I'm not gonna seam up the back, that will irritate me. But this is a quick way you can work up and close up the back, because you're not gonna even see that on the outside. That's gonna be the center of your back. That's a quick way to work it up for those of you who hate sewing. And I'm one of those people that hate sewing. All right, the next option is, let me see if I can find the needle. Alright, got my wool needle ready. I don't know why this is not wanting to focus. Like, come on. Alright, let's try this. Now, what you're going to want to do is cut a long piece. Long. Okay? Because we want to seam up that whole back without having to cut in another piece. I'm going to say probably 3 feet long. I didn't measure, but I'm guessing. Now, I attach my yarn the same way with a needle or with a hook. I start with a slip knot. Okay? Here's your slip knot. Then I thread the other end through my needle. Pull it through some. Okay? Then when I attach the yarn to the project, I go in the project in that very first stitch, in the slip stitch, close the slip stitch off, and your yarn is attached. You just gotta keep on pulling through. Okay? Now, I may have made this yarn too long, but that's alright. Now, same thing is I'm going to pinch them together like this. And hopefully that is in focus because it's looking blurry to me. And we're just going to go back and forth like we're tying up a shoelace. We're going to go this way from the inside. And then out this way from the inside. I'm going to sew it all the way up the back. Just make sure, that's why we have all those stitch markers in there, that your stitches are still lined up. Your single crochet should be right across from your single crochet. The center of your shell should be right across from the center of your shell. Okay, that is where things start to get janky. If that starts to shift or move when you're sewing up, which is very common. Ooh, I threw it across the desk. And we're just going to keep on going back and forth from the center out like we're lacing up our shoes. Okay? And that is how we sew it in. I actually like sewing it in sometimes because I find this to be a little bit relaxing. Especially when I'm sitting at my desk and I'm just... I learned to hand sew before I learned to do anything else. So for me, this isn't as big of a deal. Would I rather single crochet this close because it's faster? Absolutely. This looks a little neater, and then you don't have a seam going down your back. And then every once in a while, just pull it this way so that it's tight in your stitches. And we're going to go all the way up until we get to the top of the neckline. And then we're going to move on to under the arms. Just make sure you have plenty of room on the under part of your arms. If you want to skip ahead and do it, it's the same process. You either single crochet your armholes closed, or up to your armholes closed, or you can sew this like I am up the side panels. You got to do both side panels. Make sure you measure, make sure you have the same amount of shells on both sides of your arms, so that it's not one armhole is bigger than the other, because if one armhole is bigger than the other, guess what? You're going to have one sleeve bigger than the other, and it's not going to be very pretty. Now, I'm debating about the sleeves as I'm doing this right now. I have talked it over, and I'm like, I'm going to give you guys the options. We're going to continue the stitch on the sleeves. We're going to do the same stitch. The only difference is I'm going to let you guys decide whether you want to continue on with a multicolored on the sleeves, because that might be a little bit busy to some, or if you want to do that in just one of these colors. If you want to just have green sleeves, you can do that. If you want to have just red sleeves, you can do that. It's entirely up to you. But I'm going to show you how to do the sleeves after we seam this up, and then we're going to we're not doing ribbing around the bottom because I hate ribbing around the bottom. It is really a lot of work. We're just going to put a trim on the bottom, a trim around the sleeves, and a trim around the neckline and down the front, which is going to be a really simple stitch. But we've gotten through the hardest part of the project right now. We're sewing it up. This is the hardest part. The sleeves can be difficult for some because you have to make sure that your stitch count is correct all the way down the sleeve. You don't want bigger sleeves or one sleeve longer than the other. So what I'm going to tell you to do when we get to the sleeves is I am going to tell you, when you get to the sleeves, work on them simultaneously. Do a couple rows on the right sleeve and then do a couple rows on the left sleeve. That helps to keep everything uniform so you don't have one giant sleeve and one skinny sleeve. Because that's the biggest mistake people make when they're doing cardigans, is their sleeves don't match up. So we're going to do both sleeves same time. We're going to have our yarn connected to both sleeves so that we make sure when we do something to one sleeve, we do it to the next sleeve. Alright, I'm going to seam this up, and I will come back when it's time to do the sleeve. Alright, my last stitch marker was right here. So I am going to put my last couple of stitches in here, and I am going to leave the yarn actually attached. I am not going to cut anything at this point in case I need to come back and make adjustments after we get the sleeves and stuff done. I want to make sure I try it on. Don't cut anything yet. Just get that last couple of stitches in here. And then when we're done, we can just weave it, put a couple of knots in there, and make sure it's nice and secure. Just go over a couple of times to make sure it's stuck and ain't going nowhere. And I'm just going to leave this in case I need to make adjustments make sure that it's not too high up on my back or it's not too low on my back. This is the back seam right here, which I think is really cool looking. Nice and flat. Nothing weird going on. Right now, we're going to work under the arms. And again, make sure that you're working on the inside of the garment. And this is a back and forth project, so there's not technically a right and a wrong side. You just want to make sure your shells are facing outward towards your arms, okay? So this is the first row we made. Make sure that it's going the correct way outward. And then we're going to come here and we're going to seam up the sides. But because these are shells, we're going to have to actually, we're going to have to flatten this part out with another row, which I didn't think about when I was making this, but we're kind of just flying by the seat of our pants right now. And I'm going to use the same color of my last row. And I am going to go up to those stitch markers and stop. And we're going to do that. So, slip knot. And we do not want to work this part. We want this part to stay wavy and shells. So the part that is your arm, keep it exactly as is. Do not do anything to change this part. We're only working on the part that goes underneath your armpit, down your rib cage. Okay? So we're going to start with where the stitch marker is, which I'm going to remove. And you're going to do this to all four sides. So this side, and then your right side, and on both sides, front and back, okay? What you're going to do is you're going to attach it with the same white color, or whatever your last row was, use that color. I'm making a single crochet in that first stitch. And what we're doing is we're trying to make this flat instead of wavy. So I'm going to pull you guys way down. Alright, so you actually see what we're doing. So I attached, this is the previous row, this is the last row we did, so that's 3 double crochet. Now obviously, if your last stitch of your last row was a single crochet, put a double crochet in the stitch, okay? We're just kind of filling in the gaps. So for the first stitch, if you have the cluster on the end of your row, start with a single crochet. If you have a single crochet as your last stitch on the row, start with a double crochet. The next stitch over for the cluster is going to be a half double crochet. Okay. Then the next stitch over from that will be the third one of the cluster, is going to be another half double. And then when we get to that single crochet, we're going to put a double crochet. Now, if your first stitch of your row is a single crochet, you're right here where we're at now. So I started with a double crochet, do 2 half double crochets in the shell, 1 in that stitch and 1 in the next stitch, single crochet in the top of the shell, and then half double in the next 2 stitches. I'm trying to go over that end so I don't have to weave it in later. And then now we're at the single crochet in between and put a double. See how that flattens that out? And it makes it more of a line instead of the whoop-de-whoops. So that's all you're going to do. On these shells, the shell, all 5 stitches is going to be half double, double, half double, and then we're to the single crochet, that's going to be a double crochet. Alright? So, half double, single, half double, we're at the single crochet, put a double crochet. Okay, and you can write that down. HDC, half double crochet, HDC, single, SC, HDC, HDC, DC, double crochet. Okay, just do that up to the armpit where you have it marked. We're just going to do this part together because we're here, right? No sense in pausing. This is just a short little section. Half double crochet, half double crochet, single, half double crochet, half double crochet, double. I'm really excited how much progress I've made on this sweater. I'm liking the way it's working out. It's giving me argyle feels. Like it feels like it's a type of argyle. Of course, the people in my house completely disagree with me, but it's just giving me argyle vibes. Because it's almost like the diamonds. Shine bright like a diamond. See, that will make it so much easier to seam up underneath the armpits. Now, I'm approaching where I need to mark, or where I need to stop under the arm, because we've marked that right there. Single. Half double. Half double. And I'm going to cut it. Okay. And I'm going to go along this side. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. I'm going to stop where it meets up under the arm. I'm going to replicate it on the other side because this is my armhole. And make sure you count the shells around your armhole. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 7. That means I need 7 shells on the other armhole as well. So I will meet you back when I finished up all 4 sides to flatten out the under the armpit area, and then I will show you what we're going to do with the sleeves. Alright, so I made a slight miscalculation. I needed, instead of the 7 around the sleeve, I actually needed 8 because I needed these to be equal more so than the arm. So I counted from the half shell, I counted as a shell 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 shells on this side. I cut a longish tail from the ball. I'm just going to leave this attached because I'm going to close that stitch off. And I'm going to use this string to sew up this side. Alright, just like we did with the back seam, whatever you did on the back seam, do to the side seams. Okay, because I sewed up my back seam, I'm going to sew up my side seams in the same way that we sewed up the back. So put your stitch markers in there, make sure everything stays lined up. Very first stitch, and because we don't have the center of the shell to measure on anymore, just put one like every 5 stitches so you can make sure your stitches stay lined up. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and when you get to that stitch, you know that those 2 stitches need to be lined up when you're sewing them together, and do it all the way down. Ooh. We're going to do it the same way we did the back. I'm going to pull my hair out of there because I like weaving in my hair apparently. And we're just going to go back and forth just like we did with the back panel. If I can get my yarn out. I think I cut too much yarn. It'll be fine. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, messed up. It's caught around this. There we go. What the heck did I do? Hold up, we're all tangled. Alright, I fed it back in the same knot it was already in. Because I'm just genius like that. Alright. Just like we did I just bring the whole contraption down instead of zooming in the camera, messing with the focus. Alright, there we go. Now we can see. That's not the right part. Alright. So this is the sleeve hole. We're going to go in back and forth just like we were doing before. Make sure your stitches stay lined up. Just like we're lacing up a shoe. Back and forth. Make sure everything stays lined up, or you're going to have where the bottom seams don't line up, and that's going to drive you nuts. That's why I suggest putting the stitch markers every 5 stitches, which I have not done, and I hope I don't regret it. And do this to both armpits. Like I said, try this on. Try it on, try it on, try it on. Make sure them armholes fit you comfortably. Make sure they're not too big, not too small. And seam it up till you get to the bottom. And then you can tie it off and knot it off when you get to that point. And see, I should have put stitch markers and left them because now I can't figure out which stitches I already worked into. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to do that. When I'm done with the sleeves, we will come back and we will cast on the, it's not cast on. We will start the sleeves. We will hook on the sleeves and call it a day. Also, same thing. You want to make sure you're working on the inside of your garment, not the outside. So in case there's anything that's ugly, it's on the inside underneath instead of on the outside. And yeah, I'll meet you back when it's time to do the sleeves. All right, it's time to start the sleeves. Now, this is what my sleeve hole looks like because we squared this off. We have an extra big gap here. That is where we are going to join our yarn. Somewhere on the side of that with a slip knot and a slip stitch. Chain 1. We are going to put a single crochet right here along the edge, and in that center area we are going to put a shell which consists of 5 double crochet. Oops. And like I said earlier in the video, I'm going to leave it entirely up to you whether you want to switch colors every row and continue on this pattern, or if you want to not do that. Alright, now we're going to go over here and see there's the shells that are going down the side here, and then the shells of the sleeve. In between there, somewhere where it meets, just put a single crochet. Alright, now we are going to, in this next, see the single crochet here? Well, I am off camera, I apologize. In the single crochet right here, so this is along the rib cage, this is going into the armhole. This first single crochet right here, we're going to put a shell, which is 5 double crochet. Put a single crochet in the top of the next shell over. And now we're going to be doing the same pattern, but we're going to be working in the round as opposed to back and forth. So, and we're also going to be doing some increases so that our arm is not giant all the way down to our wrist, because I hate that. Okay, so we're going to be doing decreases. Not, did I say increases? We're going to be doing decreases. So the same thing we did for the whole sweater is when you see a single crochet, put a shell. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When you get to the next shell, put a single crochet in the top center part, all the way around. And there's a lot of noise in my house. I apologize. I'm recording this on Thanksgiving Day. Everybody's here. I'm just trying to work on this in between cooking. So there's that. Everybody's being loud. They don't realize I'm in here recording right now because I just got done putting on a whole bunch of food. And make sure you have all of your yarn on hand for when we attach the next color. Mr. Cinnamon is killing the pots and pans. He's just straight up killing them. He's fighting them. There's a gremlin in the kitchen. Also, you also want to make sure that whatever your last color was, stay in the color sequence, so that you don't have an obvious join where your shoulder is. I balled up all my extras. For some reason, I have way more green than I have of the other two colors by a lot. By a lot, like almost double. I'm like, did my green skein have more yardage on it? What is going on? What we're going to do under the arms, every time we change color, we're going to do a slow taper of the arm to make it slightly smaller than it was, like the smaller towards the wrist than what it is, because we don't need most of our wrists are not 18 inches, you know. Alright, we are back at the beginning. I'm going to fit our last shell in here of that last single crochet of the row. 3, 4, 5. Slip stitch into the first single crochet we made, and then grab the next color in the sequence. For me is red. Put this in my yarn holder. I'm going to slip stitch that to join it. Now we are back to, this is the part that goes under our arms. Okay, this is the bottom underneath our armpit area. I just attached the red. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to, we're going to skip over all these shells. Okay, I put a slip stitch here. Actually, we're going to put a single crochet here. Single crochet there. We're going to put a single crochet in the top of that shell, and then skip over to the single crochet over here, and we're going to put another single crochet. That's just going to be a decrease for this row. Alright, and then we're going to go back up to the next shell over and put a single crochet. So you should have 4 single crochets across this bottom section. So we put one where we joined the two, we put a single crochet in the top of this shell, a single crochet in this single crochet, and a single crochet in the first shell going up the arm side. Okay, so there's 4 single crochets there. It's just going to bring the sleeves in and make them a little bit smaller. And then we're going to continue on with the pattern, and I crocheted those 4 over the strap, or the end of my yarn. We will weave that in later, but that's just to hold everything in place. Go back over to the single crochet and continue like we've been doing. So 5 double crochet in the single crochet, single crochet on top of the shell, all the way around. And it is hard maneuvering this big giant sweater on my desk. shell in the single crochets in the middle of the shells. Remember, whatever you do on this sleeve, you need to stop and go do it on the other sleeve. Alright, I reached the end of the row. This is where we put those 4 single crochets. So what we're going to do is we're going to slip stitch the yarn into here. Okay, I should say, this is the last shell. I put a single crochet on the top of that. I'm going to go down to where we connected the yarn, and I'm going to make a shell. So that's 5 double crochet where we connected the yarn together, the 2 rows. 4 and 5. And we're going to bring it all the way over here to where we 1, 2, 3 single crochets over, and we're going to slip stitch to join. Okay, so that gives us a little bit of a decrease there, but it's not an obvious one. Alright, try to make that so you can see it really good. That's the 5th double crochet. We'll skip over. Why does this look blurry? There we go. Alright, skip over 1, 2, and 3 single crochets. And then that third one, not skip 3, skip 2. And then the third one, slip stitch to join. Okay, that gives us a little bit of a decrease under the arm. Now we're going to add in the white color, which I am approaching the end of that ball. We're just going to keep the yarns connected like we did in the body of the yarn. Connect the white, pull the red tight. I'm going to put a single crochet right in the bottom of where we connected. Get our tails out of the way. Alright. Now, in the next stitch over, which is the single crochet, we're going to put 5 double crochets. This is the part that goes straight under our arm, so we're right above that. Go over to the shell, put a single crochet, go around to the next single crochet, put a shell, continue the pattern around the shell, or not the shell, around the sleeve. Single crochet in the top of the shell. Alright, we're at the end of the row. We're going to go to that last shell, put a single crochet. And then, right here, we are just going to connect, because there's just like 3 stitches here. We're going to skip over, and we're going to slip stitch to join so that those 2 single crochets are next to each other, and we're going to join back the green. All of the decreases are happening at the beginning or the end of this row, so that the decreases are hidden on the underside of your arm. All right. And once again, be careful not to tangle everything, because I'm already dropping balls on the floor, tangling stuff up. Now we started off with 8 shells. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have 9. So apparently I increased somewhere, but oh, I know why. Because that 9th shell comes from where that space was. So we're good. We're good. All right, now joining in the 9th. We are going to. Alright, for this first part here, for the color green, so this is our 4th row of the sleeve, we are going to put 3 double crochets in the stitch we just slip stitched to join in. Okay, just 3. That's going to count as our shell. Single crochet at the top of the next shell, and then continue the pattern around the sleeve like we have. So 5 double crochet, single crochet, etc. Single crochet, 5 double crochet, and right off the bat, if you're having a hard time following where the decreases and stuff are of the sleeve, and if you don't mind a big open sleeve, you can just do the shells in the round and not decrease at all under the arms. You'll just have a big opening at the wrist. If you're okay with that, I'm okay with that. But I'm doing the decreases because I don't like those big open sleeves at the bottom. I like my sleeves tapered. Five double crochet, single crochet in the top. Alright, we're at the end of the row. This is our last white shell of the previous row. This is where we put the 3 double crochets. We're going to go over here and slip stitch all the way over there. I'm going to join the red back up. Whoop! I banged you. I'm going to slip over 1 stitch to the center of that shell. And then we are going to put another single crochet. Oh, no, we're not. We're not. Okay, just put a single crochet right there. Now what we're going to do is every time we reach the single crochets, instead of putting 4 double crochets, we're going to, or instead of putting 5 double crochets, we're going to put 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 single crochets from this row. Okay, so this is what, row 5, green, red, white, green, red. 4 single crochets instead of 5 single crochet. 4 single crochets instead of 5. 2, 3, 4, not 5. Single crochet. Rotate your big giant sweater. Ugh. 4 double crochets instead of 5. 3, 4, single crochet, 4 double crochets, single crochet, rotate, 4 double crochets, single crochet, 4 double crochets, single, 4 double crochets, four double crochets, and obviously your number of shells around your arm is going to differ depending on how big your arms are, how small your arms are. Now we're back to the beginning where that single crochet is. Put 4 double crochets, slip stitch into the single crochet. Colors next, the white, grab the white, and do the same thing for this row. We're gonna put 4 double crochets in this first area, that first where we just connected. And now, because we don't have 5 stitches, just go skip 1 and 2, and in between the third or the second and the third, just put a single crochet right there. So now we're working in between stitches, and it's going to be just fine. Go to the single crochet, put 4 double crochets there. 4. Go over in between the second and the third double crochet of the shell, put a single crochet. I am now gathering other yarn that's on my desk and tangling it around my project. Alright, so we're just going to repeat this row just like we did the last one. 4 double crochet, single crochet, 4 double crochet, single crochet. And as always, make sure your hole is not too small for your arm, but like as you can see, we have lots and lots of room right there. If you need to, try it on at this point. Make sure you're not decreasing too much. And if you find this getting too tight, stop doing the decreases and just continue whatever stitch you were doing up until this point. Because we are making this based off of our own bodies and all of our bodies are different, it is going to change what I do from what you do. So I'm trying to just give you a general idea. Now if you absolutely hate doing this stitch on the round in the circle and you're struggling with this and you don't want to do the decrease, you can also just change this up to double crochet, half double crochet, single crochet if you want, and just have a more plain sleeve. That is entirely up to you. There is no pressure with my videos. You gotta kind of find where you're happiest at. And sometimes I will do something complicated like this and hate it, and I will switch it up on myself. I'll be like, no, we're going to finish the sleeve in single crochet or double crochet, whatever. We do it all in one color. We don't have to keep switching yarns. I'm just being extra because this is my sweater and I want it to look like Christmas threw up all over my sweater. Because that's how Cinnamon Stitches rolls in the Shire. And I'm going to need another ball of this white silver yarn. Because I am almost out. I'm playing yarn chicken at this point. We're almost at the end of the row. In this next row I'm going to change it up again, and instead of 4 double crochets with the green, I'm going to do 3 double crochets with the green. Just an extra row of decreasing the amount of stitches that's going around. You don't want to do it every row because it will be too drastic. So if you do it every other row or even every 3rd row where you're doing a decrease, that will be just fine. Alright. We're going to slip, we're going to put a single crochet down here. We're going to slip stitch to join the top of this one. I'm going to grab the colors next, the green. Pull the white tight. I'm going to slip over to the center of that white shell. Actually, I just put a single crochet there. It's fine. Now that we're at the top of the... Oh, I'm not even on camera. You guys, you got to yell at me when I do that. Alright, so I'll rewind it for you. I connected this shell, there's a single crochet here, and I connected it to the first shell we made. I'm going to slip stitch over one. We'll do it that way. Grab the green, we'll join the green. Pull that white tight. Put a single crochet there. Then in the single crochet area, we're going to put 3 double crochet instead of 4. Single crochet in the middle of the 4. 3 double crochet in the single. Get your yarn tangled. So we're doing 3 double crochet, single crochet in the middle of those 4, in the middle, 3 double crochet. And we're going to do the same thing for the next row. We're going to take our time in a minute to untangle all these balls because they're tangled. And like I said, whatever you do, do on the other side of your sleeve as well. Make them simultaneously so you don't mess up and make one bigger than the other. So do 2 rows here, go do the other side, do 2 rows. 2 rows here, go do the other side. Keep rewinding the video so you're in the right spot. Three double crochet, single crochet. And I'm going to take a minute and I'm going to measure when we finish this row how big the opening is and see how I feel about that. Because if I feel like the opening is small enough, I can continue this until it's down far enough to reach my hands. And if I don't feel that it's small enough, see, we got back to that first single crochet, we're gonna slip stitch to join. Let's see, let me put my arm in there. So yeah, I think I'm gonna do a couple more rows. And I'm debating whether I want the sleeve. I think I want the sleeve to be even thinner. So I think we're gonna do 2 rows of the 3. So we did this 1 row, and then we're gonna do another row of the 3, and then we're gonna decrease it again to 2. Now, if you like that, if that's a good width for around your hand and you're fine with that, you can just keep it as 3 single crochet all the way down. I'm gonna take it to 2 and then a single crochet because I want it to be even smaller. So we're going to join the red. I need to pull that white out. That white is making a mess of everything. Alright. And I'm going to slip into the single crochet that's right there. We're going to put 3 double crochet in there. 1, 2, 3. Single crochet, skip the next double crochet and single crochet in the top of that one because there's only 3 there. So we're going to single crochet in the center. But now we're back to the single crochet. We're going to put 3 double crochets. You hear my niece speaking at levels that only dogs can hear? Ugh. She's not an animal person and she really is liking Ponyo. It's kind of funny. 3 double crochets. Single crochet in the top of the peak of the shell. 3 double crochets. Single crochet in the peak. 3 double crochet. Am I saying single crochets? It's 3 double crochets. Single crochet in the peak. 3 double crochets. Single crochet in the peak. 3 doubles, single crochet, 3 doubles, single, slip stitch to join. Maybe grab the white, slip stitch over to the middle of the peak, put a single crochet, and now this row we're going to do 2 double crochets and a single all the way around, and we should be able to continue this pattern of 2 double crochets and a single until we have the length of the sleeve that we need, and I ran out of yarn. So with that, I will continue on the sleeve. You continue working on it. Keep checking to make sure that this is the right width. Whatever you do on the sleeve, do on the next sleeve, and I will meet you back and we will discuss, and then we'll add the bottom on and the color. Wanted to check in on my second sleeve. This is the first sleeve all the way done, so I did in fact end up doing the 2 double crochets and the single crochet, so I wanted to show that to you on this sleeve. And I already tried the sweater on and I'm loving it. I hope you guys are at the point where you're loving it and not stressed out. Let me get everything situated. Alright, so I just ended where you guys saw me end off in the last, that little clip, which is the white part where I added and I ran out of yarn. so that I have the 2 double crochet and then the single. And it occurred to me when I was doing the next row that I didn't show you guys how to do the next row after this. So I'm going to show you real quick. I'm going to join the green. We are going to go into the center of the 2 double crochets just like we did when there was only 4. And you're going to pull up a loop, chain 1, single crochet, go into the single crochet and put 2 double crochet. Go in between the 2 stitches of the 2 double crochets, put a single crochet, go into the single crochet and put 2 doubles all the way around, and continue this until your sleeves are the length that you want. Or if you want to add like a cuff on it, make it to where it's like just slightly above your wrist, but the sleeve is fitting me like it comes right here. So I don't think I need to add a cuff on my sleeves, but you can absolutely do that. And let me see, how many rows did I do of that? Now keep in mind, my arms are different lengths, is a different length than your arm. So I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 rows of the 2 double crochet and a single crochet. So that's what my sleeve looks like. I'm kind of liking it. I'm glad I went with the 3 colors because I feel like it just pulls the whole sweater together. But I also could see it probably would look really nice with like just green sleeves or something like that. So, alright, I'm going to go back to working on my second sleeve, and I will be back and I will show you how to add the other parts to the cardigan. Now when you're done with the sleeve, if you want to be done with the cardigan, you can be done with the cardigan. I would just do at least a row along the edges so you don't have these where we carried the yarns. But if you don't want to do that, I mean, I suggest you do it. Just pick one of these 3 colors and go along, at least put a single crochet row. I am going to add a couple of inches because I kind of feel like I want this to be a little bit longer. And I just want like just a solid color around the edges. So I will come back and show you that when I decide what color I'm going to use for the edges. I'm also going to update you. I still have the second green ball going, but I am on my 3rd red ball and my 3rd silver ball. So, and like I said, this is a 4X. And yeah, that's why I always suggest getting extra, because running out, there's nothing worse than running out of yarn mid-project. That's why I always suggest to get an extra ball of everything. And if you have extra left over, you can just make something else. Make a matching heart, or yeah, a heart. Make a matching heart. Make a matching hat. You can make a hat just the same way you're making the sleeve. So, alright, I'm going to get back to the sleeve and then I will be back to show you the rest. Alright, sleeve 1 is done. Sleeve 2 is done. Now it is time to add the neckline, which we're going to make the neckline kind of thin. We don't need to add a lot. And we're going to add as many inches as you want on the bottom to make this however long you want, or to add whatever detail you want. Now the first thing you need to do is decide which one of these colors you want to do the border in, and I'm debating, and I'm kind of leaning towards green. I'm really leaning towards the green. I have a lot of the white and the red left over. Don't have a lot of the green left over, but I can always open up the 3rd ball of the green. Like I said in the video, this is my 3rd red and my 3rd gray white. I'm still in my 2nd ball of green. So I don't know what the deal with that is, but I think we're going to start with the green. And whatever, actually I'm debating, okay? This is where Cinnamon Stitches is like, I'm going to talk out loud while I figure this out. And I'm going to let you make your own decisions on what you want your sweater to look like. So what I'm thinking, because we already have red here around the collar, I'm thinking I'm just going to add some more red in. And I'm just going to do probably a row of either half doubles or double crochets around. And when I get to the neckline here, I'm going to just do a decrease stitch in the top here, which I will show you. And I'm thinking green around the base. But in order to do green around the base, I need to do the neckline first. And I just think because there's already red there that the red should stay. And you can alter this any way that you want. You can change whatever stitches you want. You can do front, you can do front post, back post double crochet around the bottom and make ribbing. You can do ribbing around the end of the sleeves. I don't need to because my sleeves are already down to here, and if I add ribbing they'll be way too long on me. But I think I'm going to leave the sleeves as is. I don't think I'm going to add any other stitches than just the sleeves. But I think for the neckline, I'm thinking just a row of, just one single row of double crochets is what I'm thinking. So attach it on one end. And this sweater is so big, it is taking up the entirety of my desk. You guys are way up higher than you have ever been before for a tutorial. Alright, so we're going to connect in. And because this is the underside of, let's see if I can get this to focus in better. Alright, let's try that. Hopefully you guys can see that. Because this is the underside of the stitches, we need to take into consideration that each one of these shells from single crochet to single crochet is 6 stitches. And because it's 6 stitches, we need to have 6 single crochet or 6 double crochet across the bottom of this. So however you fit those in, if you want to do 2 in the single crochet, 2 in the center of the shell, and 2 in the next single crochet. And as a matter of fact, I think that's what I'm going to do and see how that looks. If you put too many stitches, it is going to... actually, I think I'm going to start with single crochet first, and then I will come back with double crochet. So I think a single crochet row and then a double crochet. So in the very first single crochet section of the... this is the bottom. This is the bottom of the cardigan in the opening. Okay. And I'm sorry if I'm coughing in this video. I have caught whatever Mr. Cinnamon has had. Alright. 2 single crochets in the first stitch. We're going to go in the center of the shell and put 2 more single crochets. And I am crocheting over my ends so that I don't have to deal with them later on because I hate them. And then we're going to go over to the next, where the next single crochet would be, or about there, and put 2 more single crochets. So for every shell, you want to make sure you have 6 stitches across from this side to this side, okay? You're going to do it again over here. So see, this is where the shell is. We have a space here, and a space in the middle. So put 2 stitches, 2 stitches, 2 stitches. Okay. 1, 2. Now we're in the center of the bottom of the shell. 2 more single crochets there. To the next, to the side, to the top. It's actually the top of the double crochet, but 2 single crochets there. Yeah, and that looks pretty straight and even, and it's not curving and it's not waving. So here's the next shell, and pull your stitches apart if you can't see. So see, this is the shell, and we're at the bottom of the shell. 2 here, 2 here, 2 here. Okay? And I'm just doing single crochet. I know I said I was going to do double. I'm doing single crochet to give myself a foundation row to work the double crochets out of. So if you have 10 shells from the top of your shoulder to the bottom of the front of your opening in the of your cardigan, if you have 10 shells, you should have 30 single crochets across 10 shells. Right? No, not 30, 60. 60, not 30. And I'm going to be real honest with you guys. Sometimes I just fudge it and I put the stitches where I think they should go. And sometimes I put too many stitches, and sometimes I don't put enough stitches, and I have to frog it and work on it. As long as you're row looks flat and it's not like curling this way, like pulling on itself, and it's not like rippling, you have enough stitches. And they don't have to be in the exact spot. As long as you have 6 single crochets or 6 double or half double, whatever you use, out Oreo, per shell, it will work out. It will be just fine. I know that a lot of crochet is a science, but a lot of it also is just, you can fix it as long as you have an idea what the shape and the texture of the yarn is supposed to look like. See, and now I'm like, did I, 2, I need 2 more over here. As long as you're not putting way too many or not enough at all, you're good. One, 2. Yeah, we're doing good. You get everything kind of laid out. There's a lot of material in this cardigan. Now, I don't want you guys to think because this cardigan finished so easily for me, or appeared to look like it worked so easily for me, I don't want you to rush this. I don't want you to think like this was a breeze for me. Take your time with it. This is your sweater. Like, you're going to be putting some hours into it, so you might as well enjoy the process, right? Single crochet. If I have a sneezing or a coughing fit during this, it's entirely possible that will happen. Like I said at the beginning of this little section of the videos, I have caught whatever Mr. Cinnamon has. I felt it coming on Thanksgiving night, and I'm recording this on Black Friday, this part of the tutorial. And I have been sneezing all day, mostly. It's not COVID or anything like that, because he's taken several tests. Alright. Now, we are almost to, this is the back part, so this is where it should lay at our neck. And we're going to do something a little different there. I am so sorry for coughing. Alright. Let's see how we're approaching. This is the seam for our, this is actually where your spine should be. One, two, buckle my shoe. Okay, so on this side there's part of a shell, and on this side there's part of a shell. Let's see if I can make this more obvious. Alright, we're gonna put, see, this is the shell here on this side. So this is the center of the shell, and the center of the shell is right next to it. We are going to put 1 single crochet on this side of the shell, 1 single crochet on the center of this side shell. So this is the shell, and this is the shell. And on this side, we're going to put 1 single crochet. And then in the center here, we're going to put 1 single crochet. Okay, so this is like doing a decrease around the neck part to keep it rounded. If you put too many stitches here, it's going to square off and look weird, and you want it to kind of be curved like this a little bit. And then when we do the double crochet row, and now we're going back to 2 or 6, we need 6 single crochets. Alright. 6, we're going to do 6 in every shell all the way down now. And when we come back for the double crochet row on this section, again, we are going to decrease. So we're going to actually do 3 double crochets together in these 3 bottom stitches here. Edge of the shell, so we're going to put 2 more. I am so pleased with the way this has turned out. I surprised myself with this one because I'm gonna be real honest, making a cardigan scared me. Making one for myself is different than making one for a tutorial for you guys, because I can fudge my way along in any project. When I'm making something for a tutorial, I kind of have to be able to replicate it. And that is scary to me, because I've done tutorials for full sweaters and I understand how to do it, but trying to explain it to someone else, especially the sleeve part, is so... my brain just doesn't like it. It's complicated, it's confusing for me sometimes. And I went through and I told you guys to do one sleeve and then do the other simultaneously, and then I didn't follow my own advice. And I didn't want to come back in here and rewatch the video that is still on the camera. So what Cinnamon Stitches did is I kept looking at the other sleeve like, okay, did I put it in the right spot? Are we doing it right? And it worked out good. One sleeve is slightly smaller than the other by maybe 1/4 of an inch, if that. I know that it will stretch out with wear because this is acrylic, so it's going to stretch out a little bit. But yeah, I didn't even follow my own advice, and one sleeve is just slightly a hair smaller than the other one, which is kind of entertaining and amusing to me. I'm going over names in my head for what I want to name this sweater. And I'm really thinking about naming it after Sandy from Crochet A Canada, because a couple reasons. I took my inspiration from her for this sweater because she does a lot of sweaters in these stripy patterns with different yarns. And I admire them and I love them, but I don't have the patience to do it myself most of the time. And I just kept channeling her while I was working on this, because I'm like, okay, just think about Sandy. And also, like I've said in several videos, like Sandy has been there a lot for me for a lot of things. And I don't think she understands the impact she has on people. I really don't. And so I just wanted to name this Sandy after Sandy. So I'm thinking like Sandy's Christmas cardigan, which makes me think of Christmas on the beach, because sand, you know. So I'm like, I would totally not wear this on the beach because it would get sandy, but the name makes me think of like warm Christmases in Florida, or, you know, just a sandy Christmas. So it's going to have double meaning. It's going to be Sandy from Crochet A, but it's also going to be like, it makes me think of warmer Christmases, because it's really cold today and I need some sunshine. Alright, I'm going to continue on down to the end of the row. I'm going to start the double crochets, and I will pause the video when I start the double crochets. I'm going to show you the double crochets obviously, but then I'm going to pause it, and I will turn the camera back on when we get up to here so I can show you what I mean by doing a decrease up there. I don't want anybody to get confused, and then we will move on from there, and I will show you how to do the bottom here. It's not going to be, I mean, you can do ribbing if you want. I'm not doing ribbing because I don't really want to. And actually we're at the bottom here, and I'm just going to skip over to that last stitch over here and put 2 single crochets. I'm going to chain 1. We're going to turn our entire cardigan over. Alright, there we are. Now, this is the simplest part in the whole world because I just chained 1. That's just a turning chain. And I'm going to put a double crochet in every stitch. And because those single crochets are there, it's very obvious where we're supposed to put our stitches. Okay? If you can't tell, you just pull your stitches apart. There's a hole there, there's a hole there, there's a hole there. Just put double crochets all the way around. And if you do double crochets, you can absolutely use the double crochets as a buttonhole, and if you get a small enough button, and on one side of the cardigans put buttons just on here, a button big enough that will fit in this hole, and it's an easy way to add buttons to your cardigan. I don't know that I'm going to add buttons because I'm not a big button fan, even though I have a giant jar of them. If I find some cute Christmas buttons, I might put a Christmas button or 2 on here, but they have to be perfect. So this is what the double crochet row will look like. Okay, so it's just making this part a little thicker. I'm going to work this all the way up till we get to the spine part on the back. I will show you how to do the decrease on that, and then we can just finish the neckline. Alright, we are approaching the neckline. Going up and around. This is the one bad thing about using the puzzle for this, is it's changing color. And so one side is going to be a much darker cranberry, and the other side is going to be more of a rusty color. It's the only bad thing about using it for this part. Alright, we are at the neckline here, and see the spine, there's kind of a single crochet in the dead center there. So we're just going to wrap, go into, so 1, 2, 3, there's a center one in the spine, one on either side, go in, pull up a loop, pull off 2, wrap, go in the next one, pull up a loop, pull off 2, wrap, go in the third one, pull up a loop, pull off 2, pull off all 4, and then continue double crocheting along. And that gives us where we still have, it's rounded here. It's not as rounded, but it's still rounded here, and it gives us the curve that we need for this to rest on the back of our neck still. Alright, continue double crocheting till you get to the very last stitch down on the end. Then we are going to connect the green. Well, I'm going to connect the green. You can do red if you want on the bottom, whatever color you want. And we're going to do the ribbing on the bottom. It's not ribbing, it's not ribbing. I don't know what you would call it. You can do ribbing if you want, but we're not going to do ribbing. Alright. Alright, this is the left panel. No, that's the right side panel that is at the bottom. So this is the opening. This is the opening that goes down your front. This is the bottom of the cardigan. You can start on your left side, right side, doesn't matter. Here, I'm going to connect the green because I want the green around the bottom. We are going to make sure we connect in the tip of the row, I don't know what you call this, the collar area of, you know, the inside that we just did. You're going to find the very tip of that double crochet and attach it with a single crochet, because we're going to start this row with a single crochet like we did this row. Now we're going to work across the bottom, across these shelves. Now, this is another area you have to be careful that you don't put too many stitches in, or you don't put too few stitches in, because it will ripple. So because we have double crochets and a single crochet here, I have to make sure that there are 3 stitches across the part that we just created. The collar part, if you will. So the first one was a single crochet, put another single crochet, and at the bottom of those stitches I put the 3rd single crochet. Now, this might be different for some of you depending on your how tight you do stitches. You're just going to have to play it by ear. Sometimes I need 3 single crochets across here. Sometimes I only need 2. So I'm not sure how many we're going to need. I got 3 for the first section. And if you pull it apart, this is the first row of shells. So we have a single crochet here and a double crochet here. I'm just going to put a single crochet in each one of those stitches. Then we're going to go to the next shell. See, there's a space here and a space here. Single crochet here, single crochet here. And if it seems like that's not enough stitches, go ahead and add a 3rd one in for each shell, but I think we'll be fine. There's a space where the green row ends. That's a single crochet. Put a stitch there. Now we have a double crochet here. We're going to put a stitch here and a stitch there. So for the red section, 2 single crochets. The white section, which is hard to tell, but it's right there, put a stitch there. So for every green, for every time you change the color row, there's like 2 holes here. So that's the shell for the green, stitch here, and then this red one has a little tiny stitch there, put a third one there. So for every 2 rows, you need 3 single crochets, and I hope that helps you. Make sure you're working across the yarn that you carried up. Make sure you wrap around that and you're getting that tucked in, because that's part of the reason we're doing this bottom section, is to encompass all of those threads, those loose threads. And then when you're done doing the single crochet across the bottom, as long as it's not pulling and curving or waving, go ahead and put whatever stitches you want. If you want to do double crochets across the next row, you can. If you want to leave it with the single crochet, you can. I am going to do several rows of probably half double crochet across the bottom to give me about a 2-inch border on the bottom of this. And you can change this up however you want. If you want, you can do front post, back post, and give it ribbing. And what that would look like, we're going to pretend this is the end of the row. You would just put a double crochet in every stitch. And then when you come back for the next row, chain 1, and then front post, double crochet, and back post, double crochet. And it will give you, it will look ribbed across. I don't want to mess with the ribbing. I'm just going to do single crochet, and then I'm going to do several rows of half double crochet, because I feel like the puzzle, because it's going to fade from like this color to this color across the bottom, it will just give it a nice finished off look. And you can finish off the sleeves. You can do this wherever you want. You can add buttons if you want. Make it your cardigan. Do what you feel is beautiful. Play with it. Don't be afraid to change things that I'm doing. Don't be afraid to like play with it and do different stitches. Keep the stitches simple, like half double, single, or double crochet, or even treble would work, or front post, back post would work, because this is so busy. You don't want to like make it extra gaudy by adding like fancy stitches along here. So just keep it real simple along the edge. You're bordering your beautiful art piece like it's framing it, you know. All right, that is it for this tutorial. I think you can handle the rest on your own. And I want to see your cardigan finished. Please share it with me. Post it everywhere you can. Post it in Instagram. Post it in my Facebook group. Post it in Sandy's Facebook group. Share it with the world when you get finished. You're going to be so proud of it. I'm so proud of this. I just think it's so pretty. It's given me like an Argyle effect is what I feel like. And I'm really happy with the way it turned out. And I hope that you love it too, because I worked really hard trying to make it perfect for everybody, for it to fit all sizes. I would really like to see this on a little kid. I think it would be so cool on a little kid. I may have to make Lucas one. I mean, he's not a little kid. He wears men's sizes, but like, I just want to see this in all sizes. Big, tall, skinny, short, little kids, grown adults, old ladies. Like, I just want to see this on everybody. I want to see this on everybody. And like I said throughout the tutorial, you can change this and alter it any way you want. You can do it on all one color if this is too busy for you. You can do it in just 2 colors. You can, like, there's so many ways that you can alter this to make it your own. And I just really would like to see it when you do finish it, because I really think this is a beautiful sweater. And thank you so much for watching this and joining me over my Thanksgiving break while I was making this with you guys. And big shout out to Sandy from Crochet A, which is EH. Crochet EH Canada, because she's Canadian, so she says Canada, eh? That's the little joke us Michiganders say, because people in the north part of Michigan also say A, which is hilarious to me. But yeah, so with that, I'm gonna let you go, and I will see you in the next one. Bye guys.